Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. I know it's my first video in about a week, and I do have a couple of announcements, but I'll save those for after I've reviewed the 5 albums that I'm about to review. So I've got 5 albums to review, and I'm going to review those 5 albums. That's basically how this has been going for almost the entire year, so let's go. We begin in Cape Cod, Massachusetts for Highly Suspect and their 4th album, The Midnight Demon Club. Now, I heard about these guys a long time ago through their song My Name is Human, which is a really good song with a very interesting video. The lead singer it sort of looked like an anime hero. I think his name's Johnny Stevens? I was correct. Haha. Yeah, these are a very modern day blues rock, alternative rock sort of group. Very heavy on the synth work, and this album gets a B. I was very much looking forward to listening to my first full Highly Suspect album, even though it did take me a while. At first, I wasn't sure I'd get into them, but for this one, I was just like, sod it, I'll add it to the list. Sorry for my hair, and gave it a go. I really like the very dark tone of the instrumental work, and the lyrics are very realistic as well, almost conceptual in sort of a storytelling way. Very good at tackling themes of celebrity lifestyle and just California life, even though they don't live. Well, they might live in California. They formed in Massachusetts. They could be in Cali for all I know. But still really solid from a performance standpoint as well. The production isn't bad, but I think the album's main issue for me is that it does go a bit too heavy on the synth work. I don't know if I said it already, but in case I haven't, I'm giving it a B. Yeah, there was a lot of elements about it that I liked as well. The instrumental work is, again, with the dark tone, still quite melodic in places, and I like how heavy it feels all put together. And sometimes the synth does work with it, sometimes it doesn't. And I think as a result, the structuring is a little bit padded out, but it's still got a lot of really strong points going for it, and the band just have this really cool air about them. So if you want one of the cooler leaning, actual proper rock albums of 2022, modern day bluesy alternative rocky albums of 2022 with a good emo tinge, I recommend giving this one a spin, especially if you've heard the buzz about Highly Suspect. I think they've earned it with this one. Next we go to Tokyo, Japan for One OK Rock and their 10th album, Luxury Disease. This is another band I've been familiar with for a while now. In fact, I knew about them for a long time up until 2017, which is when I first heard my first full One OK Rock album, which I liked, and then I heard Eye of the Storm in 2019, which I thought sucked. But this one is definitely a step back in the right direction. I'm giving this one a B+. I liked how it was more of a sort of pop rock, alternative rocky sort of vibe, and the band actually sound like they're enjoying themselves as they often do. I've always liked the lead singer's vocal chops. I just wish I could remember what his bloody name is. Taka Moriuchi, very, very solid lead vocalist. The lyrics do cover romance and other love-themed topics as well, with some stuff about celebrity lifestyle that is sort of worked in as the album title of Luxury Disease, and just being careful with famous life, I guess, which is a thing that they've always been able to tackle, considering they're one of the more popular modern-day Japanese rock bands. It could seem a little bit hypocritical, but no, they make it work. The production is clean as heck, as you would expect from an album on Fueled by Rom, and they do really good pop rock production when they really can be bothered, and on this album, they apparently could be bothered. This is just really well done. Structuring is also pretty good as well. Again, it can feel a tiny bit padded out at times, but it's still something that does earn its place, and you know what, it's something that's simple and very, very sweet and very innocent in a lot of its delivery. So yeah, I recommend giving this one a spin, especially if you're even passingly familiar with One OK Rock. I think this is a good album for you to jump onto them, because yeah, I enjoyed it. Next we go to Byron Bay, New South Wales, Australia for Parkway Drive and their 7th album, Darker Still. These are one of my favourite modern metal bands. I've known about them for a long time, and giving this album an A. May as well just not sugarcoat it. I loved everything about this album. One thing I didn't expect was how uplifting the lyrical themes actually were. It does focus on very heavy stuff like inner darkness, and using that as a really good launching pad for depression and anxiety and other mental health issues. And for that reason, it really did speak to me in terms of his lyrics, and the performances as well. Really great. Winston McCall still a great guitarist. Gaz Gordon, fantastic drummer. Everyone's really good. I like the fact that the lead guitarist, I think it's is it Luke? Hang on. It's Jeff. Yes, Jeff. There we go. I remember it is Jeff. His lead guitar work actually gets to shine more, and he gets more solos, which isn't really nice. Which is really nice. I meant to say that it is. It's good. I mean it. Yeah, production's really great too. They're on Epitaph for this one, I believe. It's correct. It was released through Epitaph and Resist as well. And yeah, the production's just really great. George Hadjikristoo, I hope I'm saying that correctly, did a really great job with it. The instrumental work is great as well. Love how heavy it all feels, but also love that they're still keeping the melody thing that they started having with Ire and then worked into Reverence. I'm glad it's still around for this one. This might be the heaviest of their last few albums as well, which isn't something that adds to the memorability, but I think it does help. And yeah, Parkway Drive are just, they're making a name for themselves. They have been for a long time, and they're one of my all-time favourite bands. So yeah, I really love this one. I'm a bit biased towards it. Structuring is really great too. Next we go to Boston, Massachusetts for Revocation and their 8th album, Nether Heaven. So this is a technical death metal band. They've been around since 2000, but they're under a different name, as Cryptic Warning. They didn't really release anything as Cryptic Warning, and definitely not enough to for me to warrant a backtracking episode, which is good because I'm no longer doing that show. Yeah, this is their 8th album as Revocation though, and I'm giving this one a B-, the lowest grade of the episode. There was still a lot of elements to it I liked. I liked the technical and complex riff work, as is expected from technical death metal. But therein lies the problem, because everything good I can say about this album is basically everything I say about the genre. You know, it's technical death metal. It's really heavy, it's got really good and all too bleak lyrical tones, mostly using religion as a really good platform for themes of corruption and the afterlife and death. Afterlife? Yeah, sure. But, you know, in some areas it works. The performances are really good, though. Lead singer David Davidson, and he's also the guitarist, and yes, his name is David Davidson. That's fucking great. He's really good on vocals, especially great at guitar. I'm glad that he gets to solo a lot. Sometimes the structuring is what breaks apart for me a little bit. It doesn't really... It's not as cohesive as I'd like it to be in some areas, but it does make up for it with just being super heavy and brutal as shit. And production-wise, it can be a bit overlaid at times, especially with the drum and guitar work. It feels like the bass is a little bit buried, but if you ignore those and just focus on the good stuff, then I say go for it, especially considering how much the good stuff outweighs the bad on this album. And considering that the band's been around since 2000, I kind of expected it to be a bit more original, but it's still really good, even if it's not a thing I haven't heard before. It's just like... It's just genre dissonance for me. It's just stuff I've heard before from it. It's really good. That's all I can say about it. I wish I could say more. And finally, we go to Long Island, New York for Straight From The Path and their 10th album, Euthanasia. This is a band I know a lot about. I sort of did a backtracking episode on them, even though I couldn't find the first albums to listen to anywhere. But yeah, this is a very good modern hardcore punk staple. And I'm giving this one also an A. Highest grade I'm giving in this episode, because I gave it to Parkway Drive earlier, but I forgot to say that was the highest grade back then, so I'm saying it for now. Really liked this one. I liked all of the areas of it as well. The crushing, very heavy riffs. I like that there was more of a rap metal vibe worked into the hardcore punk, because it's something that the band have always been good at. I think it's one of the more underrated areas as well. The lyrics, again, about political corruption, things like police brutality. I'm so sorry for getting my words all stumbled today. And some themes of racial injustice and death as well. It's all worked in really well, and the band are basically just saying, you gotta look at this shit, it's crazy. We gotta sort this stuff out somehow. And it's something that Straight From The Path have always been good at, and again, a very underrated area of theirs. The performance is still great. Drew York is still a really good vocalist, but their drummer does a really good job too. I wish I could remember what his name is. I'm so sorry. Craig Reynolds, aka Cowboy Craig. That is a really damn good nickname. I like the production work of it as well. It's got like a really good sort of tight fixture and focus, and it really helps a lot of the album structuring as well, which again is really, really good hardcore punk build-ups. Not as fast as most hardcore punk is, but it still really works in well, and I like how heavy it feels, and it really has much smarter punches than harder ones, but again, it's just a thing that works for me. And I think it's the band's... Personally, I think it's the band's best album since Subliminal Criminals in 2015. Not to say that the intervening two weren't good, because they were. But yeah, I definitely like this one a hell of a lot more than I did their last two, and I really like their last two as well. So yeah, I mean, Straight From The Path are just really fucking good at what they do, and they've definitely put the time in, so I'm glad that they're able to shine through with a damn good album, and one of the better hardcore punk releases of 2022, if I'm being honest. And somehow I stumbled my way through another 5 albums now for the big announcement. First of all, before I forget, Mercer recommended, I recommend you give all of these a spin at least once, but I'm more specifically just if I had to pick one, I'd go for Parkway Drive's new album, although listen to Straight from the Past if you get the chance, and listen to all the others if you get the chance to listen to those as well. But the next big announcement I have is that Defy the Gods 4 will not take place tomorrow night, because there may be stuff I'll still need to work on, but it'll be taking place on Saturday night at 8 PM UK time, 9 PM at the absolute latest. I don't really know when, but it's going to take place on Saturday night, and I cannot fucking wait, because the arena's done, a ton of the attires are done, I've still got a few more to do. So much work I've put into this, and I can't wait. And yeah, I'm not going to be streaming it all tomorrow night because I want to save my energy for Defy the Gods, essentially. Although I will be putting up the most recent PBW vs AVW parts. By the way, thank you to everyone who watched those. The Go Home Show was incredible. I mean, might be, hot take, the best Go Home Show I've ever had. Like, that was some amazing matches and just really, really good shit. So, next thing I'll see you for will be on Saturday night. Defy the Gods 4, live version of WrestleMania. I cannot fucking wait. And then next video will probably be another fight of the night after that. I don't really know. All I know is I will see you on Saturday. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome.